Welcome to the Flip Thinking Podcast. In this podcast, you'll listen to intimate conversations between Bertolt Gunster and his guests. Together, they'll explore the guest's personal problem and try to make it feel lighter or make it disappear altogether. This can be achieved in different ways. Sometimes they can simply solve the problem, but more often than not, they'll find that they have to let go of expectations or views they hold about themselves. At other times, they can only observe the fact that there is a problem without judging it. And in some cases, they can flip think the problem.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
So can you tell me something about yourself?
Well, my name's Annelieke. I'm 57. I come from the southern province. Well, not the most southern province of Nederland.
Relatively southern.
Relatively southern. Nice people there.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. Very friendly and
like you.
Communicative. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a Compliments Day, isn't it?
Yes.
That's why. You're looking good, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I work almost full time, 36 hours a week as a website content manager person. So
you have your own company, or
no? I work for a big company in courses and online courses and bachelor's and master's degrees and stuff.
Okay.
In Zaltbommel,
which is a Dutch province town too, right?
And then also some multimedia design stuff.
Okay. That's what you do.
Right.
Is there something to tell about relationships, children, whatever, family?
I have, Well, I've got 3 grown children. They all moved out.
3?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
age?
29, 27, 25-ish this year.
Roundabout is enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Grown-ups.
I'm better with language than with numbers, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Grown up, moved out. I'm single.
Yeah.
And I have a very happy life.
Okay. That's about who you are, about yourself. Now, about the topic. Mm-hmm. So we'll start by asking you, what's your problem? What's your dilemma?
Well, I always have this little, you probably can't see it, but I have this little mini-me on my shoulder.
What, sorry?
Mini-me.
Mini-me? Mini-me.
Mini-me.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Who keeps shouting in my ear, oh, you're not smart enough. You're way too stupid. Why didn't you think of that yourself? And I'm a very confident person. I don't have a low self-esteem. I'm not shy. I take initiative outside of work. But when I bring it into a work situation...
in the workplace, the problem occurs, not in personal life.
No, hardly ever.
Oh.
So I don't really mind if I'm a street performer. I played in a samba band. I don't really mind what people think of me, and I'm secure about myself.
But when you enter the workplace,
when it's related to knowledge and education, that's when I always assume other people know more, or that's when I always bash myself because I didn't come up with the idea or I didn't think of it,
now
or I forgot it. Or
with your introduction of your problem, you go right away to the core of your problem. I have the assumption. So let's investigate this. The idea that you think you are not that smart.
No, I'm not smart enough.
Not smart enough.
I know I'm smart, but I'm
not
always not smart enough.
No, you fail in being smart.
I'm always afraid that people think I'm stupid.
Right.
And I want to find out what the origin of that is, because I have so many tools to not feel that way.
Let me interrupt you. I don't want to be impolite, but I'm not interested in the source or the origin.
Okay.
Right. It is Compliments Day, isn't it?
Right.
No, I'm interested in the here and now, because this monkey, or what you call mini-me, I like the word mini-me. Yeah. It's like a little bit like a me for a beaker from the Muppets.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes. So an annoying monkey on your shoulder.
Right.
And the core message, the main message of this monkey is you are stupid.
You're not smart enough.
Yeah, but that's a friendly description.
You're stupid, you. Yeah, you're
stupid or not intelligent. Now, we take some time. Let's slow down a little bit. What is it you would describe yourself if you are not smart enough? Is this equals the same as being stupid or dumb?
Stupid, dumb, ignorant, uneducated. I don't think I can make more of it than that.
And it has to do. So it has to do with degrees in learning,
right? And being able to have the knowledge at hand, because I did study, but sometimes I don't have it in the meeting where I need it.
No. Like everybody else.
Which makes me feel...
Yeah, like everybody else. But for you, mini-me, this is a problem.
Right. Which makes me feel uneducated. I know it, but not at that moment.
So the core word, you've said this a few times now, is uneducated.
Right.
You lack education.
Right. And discipline to use the tools that you have.
Because if you would have had more discipline, then you would be highly educated, more educated than you are now.
Right. And prepared and dish up the information when you need it.
So due to a lack of discipline, you became uneducated. This is what this mini-me says to you.
Yes. And yes, because I should have trained my brain better, right?
Because you could have.
I should have known it.
You should have done better. You should have
I should have known
better.
it. Right.
Yeah. So what degrees did you get during your life regarding education?
I had a secretarial course years back.
Course.
Right. It was a 1-year course.
Yeah, easy, right?
Easy
Peasy.
I got great grades.
So the mini-me says, ha.
And then I worked, and then I got 3 kids, and I raised them, and I worked a little bit, but a lot of volunteer work. And because the kid's father worked more than I did, made more money, and I enjoyed being able to, take care of my kids and volunteer and do a little bit on the side.
And but never attended school, university, or whatever.
No. And then in my second marriage, I had the opportunity to go for a bachelor's degree in communication and multimedia design. And I thought, okay, now is my time. Yeah. And so I did that. And halfway through that education, I got divorced, but I pushed on through and I made it. I made it. Yes, I made it.
So not lazy and getting an education. Which is contrary to
and loving it.
Your
loving
assumptions.
It. Right. But I was always alone because it was a part-time college for me, and other people worked next to it and got more experience in what they were learning, and I was just studying, and then I finished my degree, and then I was 50, and I had no experience in the field, but I did have the degree, and I did have kind of, it's very hard to find a workplace then, because they usually say, well, you're pretty old in our team, but you still have no experience. Mm-hmm. But, a lot of different stories there. But I managed to find a job finally. And I've been in that job for 5 years and I'm loving it every day. But still.
But it would have been better if you were more highly educated earlier in life, wouldn't it? When you were 20, 25, 30?
Not really, because that was my outside the workplace life. And I'm pretty good outside workplaces. I'm pretty secure in my life, and I can debate, or I would, I get into conversations and debates and arguments with people trying to prove that I'm right, because I like to prove that. But as soon as knowledge is involved, I'm
there's this
out.
insecurity.
There's the insecurity, yeah.
Yeah. So you experience yourself as uneducated. Yeah. Do you have an image of a vision of those people who are educated?
They are able to give the information when it's needed.
And do those
they have the tools to say, or they remember the tools to say, I will get back to you. I don't know it right now. Right? So they know. Is it a difficult
No,
problem?
but this is something you could do tomorrow, right? You know things, and when you don't know things, you can say, "This is what you can do."
Right, but
this is what you can say to your mini-me.
I'm not smart enough to remember that, because I listen to your podcast.
To remember what? To remember what?
To remember in the moment, like, hey, you're not stupid. You're smart enough, and you will.
You forget the possibility to talk to your mini-me because the mini-me becomes you. You think you are the mini-me. Is this right? You really think you are uneducated.
Yes, I don't know enough. Yeah.
It's not a mini-me telling this to you, but it's what you really think and feel and experience. I am uneducated. I don't have the information at hand.
Right.
And I am unable to say, I just don't know. I'll come back tomorrow and then I'll find out.
Right.
Because you really, in the moment, experience yourself deeply to be an uneducated woman.
Right. And I really don't want other people to think I'm stupid.
No. Because this is a dreadful experience.
Right.
And so you try to hide it.
Right.
Yeah. And by trying to hide it, you make it stronger. It's a bad strategy.
But it feels strange to kind of put that mini-me inside of me right now in the conversation, because I never thought that we were the same.
No, but in the moment that you really feel yourself to be uneducated, the mini-me becomes you.
Right.
It's not an entity in itself. you have the idea, I would say the illusion that you really are uneducated in that moment.
Right.
And so you lack the possibility or the capacity or whatever to put this idea on your shoulder back again, to look at it and say, thank you for giving me the message that I'm uneducated, because you want me to be educated, you want me to be smart and clever, to have all the information. That's nice, but it's impossible. Thank you for this assignment, but I will pass. I will not go along with you. Thank you, mini-me. I just don't know right now what to say, or I just don't have the information at hand. Sorry.
Right, but I cannot make that division.
No, but that's why you're here.
Moment.
That's
right.
why you're here.
Yes.
And I will help you to do so.
Okay.
So let's start with giving the mini-me who wants you to be highly educated and to have all the information at hand all the time. Let's try to give it a name. How would you call this mini-me?
A name. I have a Dutch name for it.
You have it already.
I have a Dutch name for it, but it's like a sentence.
Tell it.
She's called Gitte zit niet te fitten.
Gitte zit niet te fitten.
Yeah.
For those who don't
Sorry for everybody whose name is Gitte, but
Gitte zit niet te fitten. You really made up a name.
Yes.
How clever. How good.
Because, you read stuff, you hear stuff, and you think, okay, that's the way to go about it, because you're always learning in your life, and then it's still there. It's still
for
there.
For those who only speak English, please translate the sentence. Gitte zit niet te fitten, which means Gitte is a name, right?
Right.
A female name.
Yeah, quit nagging.
Quit nagging. Yeah, Gitte. How did you come up with the name Gitte?
I like words, and I like words that rhyme.
And it rhymes on fitte.
Fitte,
right?
yeah, because she's nagging, nag.
Okay,
right.
So this is what you now and then are able to tell Gitte, right? Zit niet te fitten.
Right.
And what's Gitte's response to?
She doesn't listen. She doesn't listen. I can even look at my shoulder it's always on the left.
Yeah.
Look to the left, but I cannot seem to get out of that situation to get the distance to.
How would it be if you said to Gitte, thank you very much for pushing me to be highly educated. I am just very dumb. I don't know in the moment what to say. And now, please shut up.
It makes me emotional because that would mean I'd have to lose something, right? That's been with me quite a while.
This is interesting.
It does. I'm sorry. It does make me emotional because it's part of me, right? And
so it became part of your identity,
right? So what do I do then? I don't know. I don't have this.
You just live freely.
I feel lonely,
So you like this incarceration, this prison. You like it. It became a part of you.
I wouldn't say I like it, but it's the normal.
It's the
doesn't
default
have
mode.
This person or thing on
I don't care about
shoulder.
other people. I'm talking with you now, and not with Gitte. I'm talking with you. So this is interesting that it gives you a kind of feeling of loss of identity.
Well, I don't know what to replace it with. Because
why should there be something on your shoulder? And she can come back every time she wants to. You just don't listen. It is not you. It's a separate identity.
Yeah, it makes me feel quite like I'm two people. But
so I have encountered a lot of interesting people during this podcast. But you are on the top 3, I guess.
Thank you.
Because you have this identity on your shoulder. You have a name for it. It causes a lot of frustration.
Right.
The feeling of to be unmasked or revealed, or that people really see that you are dumb, which you want to hide. So it causes a lot of trouble and burden. But you still hold on to this nagging voice because it's became part of you.
Right. I don't know how to cut the ties yet.
Yeah.
And I think
you know how to cut the ties, but you're afraid to cut the ties. It gives you a feeling of loss to cut the ties. What words would you describe how cutting the ties would feel?
It would feel empty, and I try to have to find a new normal. And it also makes me mad at myself because, it can be pretty easy. You just ignore it or remove it or flip think it. And then I'm 57. Why couldn't I do that before? I'm an educated woman. Why can't I do that?
I think now we can discover because you're
I'm not
stupid.
Smart enough.
No, because you're stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. You like to hold on to the self-image. There's a kind of clinging to this negative pattern. Sorry to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm laughing with some pain in it, right? Because there's pain, there's frustration here.
Frustration.
Yeah.
Why can't I let that go?
Because it became part of your identity.
Right.
There's some so how would you say, some reward in punishing yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty tough on myself in the workspace. Yeah, I have high standards. And, I can be a perfectionist, I can be control freak. But all of this I do because I don't want people to think I'm stupid.
No, so... and being a perfectionist and doing your best is in itself rewarding, right? Because you work hard and you achieve a lot.
Right.
So, Gitte zit niet te fitten. In a way, she pushes you forward in life to get the best out of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Now, imagine that she's not on your shoulder all the time, but she's there, but you can make her silent.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to. Are you then afraid that you won't be as perfectionistic as you are now? Are you afraid losing this push in life?
No, my biggest... So if it weren't there, I'm still afraid that people will think I'm stupid.
No, that's me telling.
Yeah, right.
That's not you.
It's so hard to...
Yeah. So imagine she's on your shoulder. She's on your left shoulder, right?
Right.
This is where you envision Gitte, right? She's on your left shoulder. Don't send her away. She's just there. She's been there all your life, very, very long, right? Yeah. You're saying yes. Yeah. So sending her away, I have the idea that this doesn't work. She's there. Right. And she's pushing you forward to be highly educated, to have all the facts at hand, and to know what to say. And if you don't know what to say, I'll be back tomorrow and then I know what to say, right? This is what she's telling you day in, day out. Now, imagine you are capable, when you don't know something in the workplace, to tell Gitte, okay, thank you very much giving me the advice. I have to know, but I just don't know right now. Imagine you were capable of doing so. Now, what would you then lose?
I wouldn't lose. I would gain some time to less stress. I would gain time to come back to an answer or find out.
Yeah. Or maybe say the next day,
right.
I even don't know the next day now.
Or just say, I don't know that, or acknowledge that somebody knows something better than I do.
And say, thank you very much for telling me this. I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Pooh.
Why pooh?
Well, saying to someone, I think, thank you very much, because I didn't know that, but I never say that. Or I sometimes do. I'm not that rigid, but... To admit, I have to admit, right, that I don't know it.
What's wrong with admitting that you now and then don't know anything? Do you know much about nuclear energy, for instance? Do you know much about mathematics or econometry? Or
no.
There are a lot of fields in life that a lot of people don't know anything about.
It's not the pressure of having to know all these topics or subjects. It's more that people know them when they have to know them, and I should also. Yeah,
and then you just say, "I don't know. I made a mistake. Maybe I was uninformed. Maybe I was uninformed. Yeah, it's difficult for you. Now it's difficult for me. For Gitte, it's difficult.
Yeah.
For her, it's difficult.
Right.
So now there's again. Yeah. What's happening now? Can you inform me what's happening in your system?
Well, now we're talking for a while, and I was a little bit stressed coming out here, and now we've got the all the adventurous things of being here in the studio and stuff.
Which is an excitement, of course.
Of course,
being here at the Omdenken
so it's
podcast
gradually,
studio.
I'm toning down and I'm becoming more myself and less. Stress is a heavy word, but I mean less excited about being here and being on time with the train and stuff. But I made it, so I'm easing up a little bit. And that's where I'm very vocal, so I sometimes say, "Okay."
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with the letting go and holding on.
Yeah, I think I fully can understand this, because from the moment you entered this room, I really thought, well, this is one of the most uneducated women ever entered this studio.
Yeah.
This hurts, does it?
But
it doesn't.
Not really, because when you dish up information about a certain model, the Eisenhower model or whatever, like theories about psychology or whatever.
Oh, it's only when it's about knowledge you need in the workplace itself, right? So, okay, so you don't feel offended because, well, it's a studio and my knowledge isn't relevant here, right?
No.
Okay. So, but if I would work with you,
Right.
For a few months, and then I would have a conversation with you and tell you, well, I think you're really now and then really very uneducated and uninformed, and then it would hurt. Then it
would
hurt.
hurt.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think we have made the analysis. The analysis is there's this voice on your shoulder telling you are uneducated when you don't know anything, don't know something in the workplace. Try to hide it. Don't let people give them the impression that you are uneducated. This is on your left shoulder. It's called gitte. And you know rationally, not emotionally, you know it's not you, it's a voice in your head, right? On your shoulder.
Right, yes.
And you have told me that if you would let go of this voice, in a way this feels a little bit weird or insecure because how to behave from then on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What would be my new normal?
Yeah. Can you be, instead of afraid, be curious to this new normal?
Yeah, well, yes.
Well, there's a long pause. There's a long pause there.
Right. I'm already, taking a step in being curious. How that would feel, because I'm a naturally very curious person. I always want to know what's going on everywhere. So I'm eager to find out, but it's emotionally.
I have the assumption that being curious, in a way, is the opposite of knowing everything. So it's for this gitte on your shoulder difficult to be curious, because curious knows you don't know everything.
Right.
Am I right?
You want to find out, yes.
Yeah. So you're not panicking. Gitte is panicking now.
Right.
When I give you this question, can you be curious? You are curious, but gitte is anxious, right?
Yeah. Oh, so, that's funny.
That's funny, yeah.
Yes.
So now gitte is becoming anxious, being on the brink of the unknown.
Right.
What could you tell gitte to calm her down?
Well, if it were me, the unknown is awesome.
Yeah. This is what you could tell to gitte.
It's an adventure, right? Yeah. It's an adventure.
But then gitte says, I want to know where the adventure goes to.
We do that in daily life, I go on my motorcycle and then I'm
she said you do it in daily life, but in the workplace it's dangerous. You got to know where you're going to. You mustn't be curious.
Yes.
You must know it all. Otherwise what? Otherwise what?
People think you're stupid.
Yeah. So what would you tell gitte?
Well, if you think it, instead of having to know it all, why don't you assume that you're just curious and you're going to find out what you don't know?
Right. You tell gitte it's not about being stupid or knowing, it's about being curious and wanting to know the unknown.
And curious about the not knowing.
Yeah.
All right.
But curiosity is always about the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can be curious to something you know.
Yeah.
So gitte hasn't got the ability to be curious. She doesn't.
No.
Which makes her a very poor creature. She wants to control, to have all the information.
So she's slowly detaching now.
You are feeling so?
Physically, yes.
Tell me.
Because it's becoming more of like a bird.
A birdie?
A birdie, yes.
Yeah.
And becoming more of a small child that I'll just have to cherish and say, it's okay. So I'm becoming bigger and gitte is becoming smaller.
Oh, how wonderful words you give to the process you are going through now.
It's
very educated, very clever.
Well, thank you.
If you were in my workplace, I would admire you.
Maybe I can take over.
Yes, you can.
You have to go on a vacation or
whatever.
Do
a brilliant job. Even if it wouldn't be Compliments Day, I would give you this compliment. Now, this is a brilliant description of what's happening right now in your system, so to say.
Right, which is...
You are detaching.
Right, because my curiosity and not gitte's... See, I'm talking about two people.
Yeah,
funny.
Which is great.
It's bigger, but then what to do about the feeling, that emotion where you think, I don't want people to think I'm stupid, because that's
Let them know you're stupid. Make fun of it. Make a T-shirt or a mug and say, I don't know everything, especially when it concerns the workplace. I wonder why they pay me. I don't know. Make a joke of it. If you want, as long as you want to hide it, it becomes stronger. As soon as you show it, like they say, shame dies on exposure.
Right.
That's the key idea. Shame dies on exposure.
So that will be on my T-shirt.
Shame dies on exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that phrase. But
it's okay. Is it gitte with the but or is it you? Before I know what the but goes to.
No, it's still. It seems so easy and still it's hard that I have come this far and that I would be healed in an afternoon. And it clashes with, but that was...
Well, that's the magic of this show, I dare to say. It's a very highly educated podcast. It is.
Yes, I know. You invite the best people, right?
Yeah, right.
No, but it clashes with my perfectionism to admit that I don't know it or I didn't know it, and especially I should have known it because I have a bachelor's degree.
I can congratulate you because a lot of the work during this podcast was done by you. You just brilliantly told me how you felt more and more separation between you and this identity on your shoulder, and that this identity became a little bird and that you became stronger. This is the work you just did. And even if you didn't do so, well, then you are stupid. Who cares? I don't care. As long as we find a way to free you. That's the only purpose of this podcast. It's not about how clever you are. This is still Gitte wanting to be highly educated and not being unmasked as stupid.
And perfect.
And
right?
perfect, yeah. Yeah, just clumsy. Like you are clumsy, like everybody is. You're just stumbling forward through life.
How can you allow yourself to be clumsy and not know things when you have an education?
Because
that's
no matter highly educated you are, there are always things you just don't know, or you forget things, or you're stressed, or whatever.
Right.
Everybody makes mistakes. You want to be perfect, that's nice, but you will never be perfect. Never. Nobody will. Nobody. Life is clumsy. Life is stumbling forward.
But can I
don't know what
train myself to not be clumsy?
No. And clumsy is funny. Clumsy is being curious. Clumsy is about making mistakes. Clumsy is about asking questions and then let other people feel clever.
Right, but I'm still, there's some things that
You're
feel
stubborn,
better now. But I'm pretty stubborn.
Yeah,
I'm still, if you have the information in your head, why can't I produce it in the moment?
This is Gitte talking. Thank you very much, Gitte. But could you please get back on the shoulder and become smaller and become a bird, please?
Fly off.
Or fly a little bit around and then come back. It was Gitte talking, not you.
Yeah.
I think there's a voice in your head now telling to you, is it that simple? Is it that simple? Am I right? Is it that simple?
Right.
Yeah, the answer is yes, it is that simple.
I just hate to admit that because I could have done it sooner.
Yeah, so now you see the pattern repeats on a deeper level.
Yes.
You want to be clever, you want to be highly educated, you want to be perfect. Well, good luck with you, but that's Gitte, that's not you. Just let go.
I keep saying, right? That doesn't solve it.
No, but it's okay to be stubborn because I don't want you to convince of something you are not convinced about.
Exactly.
Your resistance I take very seriously, and I'm not in a hurry. So
okay. So should we address the resistance then?
Yes.
Because this is stuff I know and what we talked about, and I understand, and still there is this resistance,
holding on.
Because now we're going in a loop, right?
Right.
Because
we are.
Yeah.
Now and then I have the impression you are quite clever. But I'm teasing you, right?
Right.
So what's holding you back to just let go of Gitte now and then? So thank you for the advice. Me is me. I'm just curious, not knowing everything all the time.
So
what's holding you back?
Then I'd have to admit that I did have the tools and I didn't use them. And I made a mistake not letting go sooner.
You were not that clever in the past. You could have freed yourself of this pattern earlier. Yes, you made a mistake.
Right.
What's happened? Now there are emotions suddenly.
That's the making the mistake. Admitting that you could have done better. You made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I could have saved myself so much pain. Yeah. So I'm so hard on myself.
Yeah.
And that's a tough life.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That's a tough life.
Yeah. And if you have...
And it's not always because I'm a happy person. But, it's in situations...
No, you're crying now. You're unhappy.
No, yeah. I mean it doesn't suffocate me.
It isn't devastating.
Life.
It's not devastating.
No.
But it's a stubborn old pattern.
Yes.
And now you just gave a brilliant answer. What holds you back to admit this is that you have to confront yourself with the fact that you have made a mistake. You could have freed yourself years before now.
Yes.
Can you live with making a mistake this big. It's quite a mistake,
It's
right?
quite a mistake.
You have, to give other words to it, you have carried a burden on your shoulder for a long time, and you could have freed yourself from this before.
Yes, I could have done that.
Yeah.
I had the tools, I have the tools. I'm an educated woman.
No, you're not. This is what Gitte says. Yeah.
Right, so I guess that's the resistance.
And that's the same old pattern we're talking about all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gitte made your life hard.
Right.
You carried it, you did your best, and now you come to the inside. It was, in a way, all for nothing.
Right.
Which is a big mistake.
Which
and I say it with a smile.
Which is quite a pity in your life.
Yeah.
If you are so hard on yourself.
But I'm 65. Thank you much for the compliments. How I look like? You don't, but that's okay. I'm fishing for compliments. Yeah, thank you. And I found out a lot of things between 64 and 65 last year. So isn't it wonderful that we can learn and develop and grow, although we are 57, 60, 65 or 70? Why not? Because doesn't it make life lighter and easier, learning about ourselves?
Of course, it does.
Yeah. So could you embrace this mistake and say, thank you very much, although it hurts because I've done my best for so long, actually for nothing, but now I'm a little bit more free than I was?
Yeah, and that explains the sometimes I'm a perfectionist, and this is the reason why I couldn't let go, because then I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And if I admit that I could have done this way sooner and it could have way easier life.
This makes you even more stupid.
Right. And then I'm not perfect.
No. Which is in a way quite human, right?
Right. But I don't have that problem outside of work.
No, I know.
Curious.
You're
and
repeating
I like to learn,
yourself.
right? Yes.
But can you be, as a consequence of this conversation, be curious to upcoming mistakes to be explored, to be unwrapped? Because there is possibly more revelation in the future ahead, right?
Well, now that I kind of understand the resistance against it, I know what to do with it. Because I don't have to think I have to know it all. I just have to think I should not resist learning new things or resist, say, acknowledging that I'm not perfect.
Right. And this is flip thinking. So flip think uneducated with curiosity.
Right. I like that. And what was it? The shame and exposure?
Shame dies on exposure.
Shame dies on exposure.
Make fun of it.
Yeah.
You're 57, so why try to be perfect? Stop it. You don't need it. You have 3 grown-up children. You're a free woman. You drive a motorcycle, right?
Right.
So why be perfectionist? Just stop it.
Yeah.
It's Gitte telling you so.
Right.
Yeah. I think we are at the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe I say this quite suddenly, abrupt, but how does...
I guess you just want to go home.
No, it's late.
Friday.
Go home, it's Friday. But just trying to round off, right? So how do you feel right now, having said all this?
I came here to find out the deeper reason behind it, and I think I got that. It's admitting that I could have done it differently, but I didn't. So this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And
how does it feel saying so? How does it feel emotionally?
I get closer to myself because I like being a curious person. Yeah. And I've always described myself that way. And I think, okay, see, I
you behave
rub my shoulders back and I can become bigger.
Right.
And I can just be a curious person and admit, okay, sometimes I know it and sometimes I don't.
Which you already are when you're not on the workplace.
Right.
So it's not new.
No, it's not new, but I know where the resistance comes from. And so I don't have to think about this birdie on my shoulder. I have to think about me and the resistance within me. Yeah. So that places it in and on me, which is, that's me. It's easier to deal with instead of talking to,
Maybe to give you some unexpected feedback, but during this conversation, I saw you softening up. Can you say this in English? So?
Right, yeah.
Getting loose and more relaxed and friendly, and not doing so much your best in a way.
Yeah,
and
that's why what I noticed halfway that I was really doing my best, and then
and you become a very lovable person with all your mistakes and flaws and curiosity. And
that's a great compliment.
And it's Compliments Day, but I really mean this. And as a person, you are very much more approachable when you're curious and not knowing things and just being in contact with me, instead of trying to give a kind of impression that you know it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you're perfect.
Sometimes I do know better.
Yeah,
though,
of course I know. Of course, you don't have to convince me. Now, this was Gitta talking. Yeah. But I think we're at the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
And, thank you very much for being here.
It was fun.
And I'm really curious to how this will evolve.
As am I. I'm very curious how this will...
Okay.
How I will walk back to the railway station with this in my mind and just look at the world with a little bit different eyes. I can just be curious and not have to be perfect and know it all. Yep.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, this is Annelieke. It's been 8 weeks since I had my Flip Thinking podcast recording in Utrecht with Bertolt. It was an enjoyable experience. I was a little bit overwhelmed in the beginning, not your everyday situation. But a little bit into the conversation, I settled down and felt at ease. And I admire how Bertolt was able to summarize every now and then and keep me focused on the reason why I was there. And then suddenly it was done because we reached the flip thinking moment. I'm allowed to be curious and I don't have to know everything. Simple, but true. I did feel a lot lighter afterwards. What changed in the past few weeks is that I'm more respectful towards myself. Whenever this little bird on my shoulder starts to shout, hey, stupid that you didn't know that, or why did you make that mistake? And, I'm able to silence it. I do have a new perspective and I do have new words. I can just tell myself, well, that's something I didn't know and this is an opportunity to learn. Or whenever I compare myself to others, I can just copy their behavior and do better next time. It's liberating. And I also realized you can't know everything all the time because then you'd be at a standstill and have no reason to discover more new things or satisfy your curiosity. I do feel pretty vulnerable now that the podcast is out there, but of course I don't know what other people think. And this was my problem that I had to solve for myself. I can only hope that someone recognizes the same kind of situation and finds the same tools, Allow yourself to be curious, enjoy your own curious nature, and don't think you have to know everything all the time. So that little bird on my shoulder is still there, but I can now embrace it regularly, and I can also embrace myself more easily. It was a good experience for me, and I have the tools now to handle the situation better. So thanks for that. Yes, I'm very curious where all this will lead to in the rest of my life.
Do you want to flip think your own problem too? In Bertolt Gunster's bestseller Flip Thinking, you will learn all about the life-changing art of turning problems into opportunities. Flip Thinking is available in England, Italy, Portugal, South Korea, United States, and soon in 17 other countries too. For info, check out flipthinking.info.